welcome to the Hudson Valley Knits video blog, or vlog, if you will. I'm Amy. I am Memers on Ravelry and Memers66 on Instagram. I am originally from the Hudson Valley in New York. I lived there pretty much all my life up until 2 years ago, not quite 2 years ago, when I moved to St. Louis, and here I am recording from St. Louis in my family room, and it's been months since my last video. I was really honestly not sure if I would do another video again ever. Many reasons why, but today I thought about all the stuff I'm doing, all the stuff I'm making, and I realized that I just wanted to share it with everyone that will stop by and watch. I am going to start with one thing, so I hope that you just bear with me for a couple of minutes here. I am going to make a statement, and that statement is that I acknowledge the Black Lives Matter movement. I support the Black Lives Matter movement because I realize they can't do it by themselves. They can't change the way things are by themselves, that they need people like me, white people of privilege, and please just hear me out, to stand up for them. I'm going to talk about this at the end. That's why I said it might sound political, but it's philosophical, it's moral, it's spiritual, and it's something that needs to be talked about. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about knitting, and it's all knitting. Unlike a lot of, I know a lot of people have had more time for knitting because of COVID, because of shutdowns and having to stay at home, but that has not been the case for me. I have my workload at work, and I am not complaining because I am very, very fortunate and to have work right now. So this is not a complaint, but I have been working, not including breaks, like straight work time, 8-9 hours a day, some weekends, just to keep up. So while I haven't had the usual amount of time to knit that I've always wanted, I have been knitting a lot. I've been also choosing to do different things with my spare time lately. But regardless, so that, that's part of the reason I didn't podcast, is I felt like I didn't have a lot to talk about, and I didn't want the pressure to try and knit more, just so I would have stuff to talk about on the podcast. So that's kind of what my knitting has been like, and despite that, you're going to see a lot today. I'm going to start with what I am knitting now. The first thing I have on the needles is actually a summer sweater. It's knit with the new yarn from Brooklyn Tweed called Dapple. Here it is caked up. I bought it when it first came out, and I have not been buying a lot of yarn this year. But this I did buy because it's 60% merino, 40% cotton, I think. Is there a label in here? 60% merino, 40% organic cotton. And I do live in a warmer climate. I mean, we still have a cold winter here, but generally it's much more milder than it would get in New York, where I used to live. So I wanted a lighter, cooler sweater to wear in like the late summer, early fall, when it might get a little cooler, but nothing near, full-blown sweater. So I did purchase enough to make this sweater called Gin. I'm trying to find it. Oh, here we go. gin is just a basic raglan tee with it actually, you can't see it in this picture, but it does have a nice little detail on the raglan part and the sleeve. It's knit with a dapple. You can kind of tell from this picture that it's not all the same color. And this is not a gradient set that was knit with. It is actually all the same color and probably all the same dye lot because of the cotton, I think. It is not a very consistent yarn when it comes to color. And they did clearly state that before I bought the yarn. They said, you know, not all the colors will match perfectly. And what you can do is make it kind of a gradient. And I actually liked that idea. And some of the samples I saw in it were really good. But unfortunately, I had to buy 10 skeins, and 8 of the 10 skeins really looked the same. Very, very, very slight, not very noticeable differences in shade, except 2 of them. I'm gonna hold them up to show you. So these 2, and then the rest are like this. That's a big difference. So I'm going to try and make it blend in by using the darker ones more towards the bottom of the sweater and at the end of the sleeves. I'm doing a short sleeve version. Let me show it to you now. It's top down. I'm doing a short sleeve version, but I'm not going to do the cropped version. It's written as a cropped sweater, but I am going to do a this is the back. I'm going to do a little longer. And here it is as best as I can show you because I have a lot on the needles. And this is what I was talking about with the sleeves. Here's the raglan sleeve. You can see it's in a rib. And then you have these little bands of just stockinette stitch to frame it out with a little, the increase is showing there, and it really is very pretty. So you can see I'm almost done with my second ball, but you cannot tell where I switched in this. They're all the same except for those last 2. So I'm not sure what it's going to look like. It's going to look more like a color block, but I feel like that's kind of what I asked for, so that's what I'm getting. So that is my first sweater. It's what I've been working on almost monogamously lately. I do also, though, have a pair of socks on the needles. I may or may not have shown these. Oh shoot, I don't have the pattern with me. Here is the first sock. It's knit in Lorna's Lace's Soulmate, which is a really good sock yarn, believe it or not. I had to find let me look up the pattern on my Ravelry page. Black Sesame Ice Cream by Claire Devine. Ooh, I need to do that. Let me show you the pattern. Here is a picture of the pattern. You can see the cuff is really cute, and then the foot is kind of like it's kind of like a seed stitchy kind of pattern. It's a pearl knit pattern that comes out really nice. So I'm knitting these up from the top down, and they fit nice. And I tried the short row heel that was written in the pattern, which, just my opinion, wasn't explained very well, and I didn't like how it turned out or how it fit me. So with this second sock, I did a heel flap and gusset because that's what I like to knit, and I figure it's going to be in the shoe, so who cares? And it's coming along. I've been working on it in spurts. It's been on the needles for a few months, but I haven't really been working on it consistently. I did put this on hold to knit a Kat Bordy sock, which I forgot to bring down. It's up in my sock drawer. Pussy Willow Socks by Kat Bordy. If you haven't checked out her website, you should check out her website. There's a beautiful blog post there. I don't know if you might not even be familiar with Kat Bordy. She's an amazing designer, a very free-thinking designer. I don't know how to describe it in that. I mean, her patterns, she reminds me of Elizabeth Zimmerman. She likes devising new techniques. She likes for the knitting to be a spiritual experience, I think, and she likes to come up with creative ways to do things. And she did come up with, she knit a book over 10 years ago, Sock Sore on 2 Circs. I don't know. And she really kind of started this whole craze of knitting socks with 2 circular needles instead of DPNs. I know she didn't come up with Magic Loop, but I think shortly after that, Magic Loop came out. But she is dying of cancer, and she put out a pattern, which I'll show you next. Oh no, well, I'll show you in a little bit, but she said it would give her great joy. She gave a hashtag for Kat Bordy, the number 4 Kat Bordy, and said it would be very joyful for her if she could see people knitting up her patterns, and please respond using that hashtag. So I did. Again, I told, as I said, I left it upstairs, and but they're really cool socks. So the sock I knit, actually I can just show you my Ravelry page. It's called Pussy Willow. It's from the Master Sock Knitting book. And this is a toe-up sock. Now, just so you know, I'm not really a toe-up sock person. I've knit toe-up socks, I think once, and then I tried it a second time and then frogged it. I don't like knitting toe-up. I never get the heel right, and the only time I have done it, well, the first time I did it, the way it was written, and like I said, I didn't enjoy it. It didn't really come out right. I took a few tries, but the second time I did it, I used the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and that worked out fine, but still, I just prefer top down until now. So this, trying to make it a little bigger, knit as part of the Woolly Thistle Sock Dash, I think she calls it. And I used the hashtag that Kat Bordy asked so that she could see me knitting her pattern. It's an amazing pattern. I loved it. So it was toe up. She used this wedge toe. I don't know if she devised it, but it's really genius the way she did it. I don't know if you could see in my picture. I'm trying to see if I have a better picture. No, I don't. But I know you can see it in her picture. The way it works is, nope, you can't really see it there either, but you get kind of like a wedge all around your toe, and then the sock, it's like maybe it's called a moccasin toe. But check it out, Pussy Willow Stockings by Kat Bordy. The toe is fantastic. And then the way she calculated where to start the heel, and the way she did the heel was very unique. She put these increases for the heel on the top of the sock. So those are the increases for the heel. They're not done in like a gusset. And then you just kind of scoop up the side needles, and then you just keep going with it up the sock. So you have that eyelet pattern going up the sock. It's only as you get to the foot of the sock, you compensate it with some knit two togethers Whereas on the foot part where you're increasing for the heel, you don't do any decreases. So it was great. It was a great knit. I would knit another pair of those. I really enjoyed knitting those. So, okay, last project on the needles is my Rhinebeck sweater. You've probably seen this if you watched my last video. It is, oh shoot, what is it called? Marie Wallen's, I can't remember the name. It's terrible. Lovage. It's so popular too. Yeah, I made the lovage with using, I have a huge stash of 2-ply Shetland wool. Jameson and Smith, Phenol Garn, all different brands of beautiful 2-ply. Even like Knit Picks palette, which I didn't use on here, I have tons of it. Sorry, I'm gonna lower this so you can kind of see it. Yeah, so I'm just picking up for the sleeves. I finished the band. I actually had, sorry. I'm gonna just tighten that up a little. Sorry, I'll probably edit that out. I had finished it and cast off and I tried it on and it was too short, so I removed the band and I knit another 1.5 inches or so and made it a little longer. But I really love how it turned out. I love the colors I picked. I think it came out really beautiful, and I just kind of put it on hiatus a little to knit the capboardy stuff, and also because I wanted to knit this sweater to enjoy in late summer, early fall. So it's kind of on hold, and let's face it, there's no Rhinebeck this year, so it will be a Rhinebeck sweater hopefully next year. So there's no rush. I'll probably do 2 Rhinebeck sweaters for next year, this one and another one. So this is not blocked out or anything. It's gonna look so beautiful when it's done. I really am excited about this one. Yeah, so that's my lovage. That's where it is. Like, I haven't even picked up all the stitches yet for the sleeve. I'm knitting it top down, by the way. It's written bottom up. I'm knitting it top down because I don't like knitting bottom up. And so I just kind of reversed it. No big deal. That is it. That's on the needles, right? Yeah. Let's talk about my FOs, and then I'll show you a couple. Well, I take that back. There is another thing on the needle that is kind of a work in progress, but kind of will lead us into finished objects, because I want to show you how I'm doing. I've been knitting a lot on 2 kind of lifetime projects, maybe. One is my scrap blanket, my what do they call, cozy memories, or scrappy, happy scrappy. Here is my basket of scraps. I have a boatload of them. Most of them are leftovers from socks. Some of them are mini skeins that I have purchased. Some is hand spun. And you know, some was gifted to me, but mostly it's yarn left over from socks or purchased as a mini set, like the advent calendar from left over from socks and shawls, I should say. I bought an advent calendar from a Homespun House, and that has a lot of squares, but let me show you it. I'm so excited about it. I showed it on the last video. Oh, here it is. You can go look at that, but I'm not sure, but I just feel like it's coming along at a nice pace. I put it down sometimes and don't pick it up for quite a while, and then I'll just be in between projects and I'll say, you know what, I'm gonna do some blanket knitting, and I just really love how it's turning out. I love all the colors. I was really kind of worried and over obsessing about what color to use and when. And I just stopped caring and excuse me. And I just pick whatever is, and I just stick my hand in the basket and pick. And it's worked out fine. But I'm gonna love this when it's done. I'm kind of making it for the twin bed that's up in my office. You've seen me record there before. That's eventually where it would be. Or it might end up on the couch, who knows. But I have another blanket I'm knitting, you might remember, and that's meant for the couch down here where we sit all the time and watch TV, and that is my log cabin blanket. If you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that not last year, gosh, it's been over a year ago, almost 2 years ago, when I and a bunch of my friends got together and knit a log cabin blanket for our dear friend Sandy, who was going through chemo, and we wanted to wrap her up in comfort and give her something to just feel loved, right? And it came out beautiful, and Sandy loved it. If you've watched my podcast, you know that Sandy didn't live. The cancer took her life last year in June, which is kind of a blessing because this COVID thing would have been really hard for her. But I decided that I wanted to make a blanket like that for myself. And it's been really perfect. So I love it because, and I'm gonna show you the squares while I talk. I don't forget what order I knit them in, but my goal has been to knit 1 square a month, and I kind of like that. So it's not like I feel daunted. Oh, I have this huge blanket to finish, and oh, it's gonna take so much time. It's more like, I just have to do 1 a month. So this month I'm gonna do a square, and these are the colors that I like this month, and I'm gonna knit them out of that. And then, yeah, and then, like I said, once I finish, that's it, it goes away. And then when the new month starts, I typically pick out the colors, and it's whatever colors are speaking to me. I try and get at least 1 hand spun yarn in each square. Some aren't quite worsted, and some squares aren't quite the same size, but that will all work out in the end when you sew it together. I learned from the last time. So it really is a perfect project. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I thought for a second there it didn't have enough stripes. Anyway, yeah, so I've been doing 1 a month, and I've been really good about that. And I am right on track. I really love it. I have to admit, I had some scrap worsted, but my leftover worsted collection was not really that great because I don't knit a lot with worsted yarns. I think this was the first one. So I did buy a pack of Wool of the Andes from Knit Picks. It's their, it's a great yarn. This is it here. Just to give me a little variety of color. So I bought a pack of heathers, and I bought a pack of bright colors. Well, here's one of them. Here's another one. And it was just enough to keep the mix interesting. So I was finding that I was using the same colors on multiple squares because of my lack of choices. So I did buy some yarn specifically for it, but mostly it's hand spun and leftovers. And here is August, so today is August 30th, yeah. And this is what I have left. This is what I've completed for August Square. So I'll probably finish this tonight. I might finish it tonight. I might take me a few more days into September. It's not a problem. It will get done. And let's see if I can hold up the colors. Mark picked these colors for this square. I asked him to. And I'm just trying to give you an idea of what it's gonna look like. But yeah, this is the August square. And I'll probably, after I'm done, go in and pick out the colors for September square. So I'll have 12 squares by December, which is the plan. And it'll probably take me a month or two to, so around all of those, I also bought a pack of Wool of the Andes in solid black, which thank goodness I bought it, because I don't know if you noticed, but Knit Picks is out of stock on a lot of yarn. But around these squares will go a stripe all the way around of black, and then I'll be sewing it together in black. So all these squares will be surrounded in black and sewn together, so it will make it very cohesive and pull everything together. That might take a couple of months. So hopefully I'll be done with this blanket by February of next year. And that is truly all of my whips, I think, right? So let's talk about some of the things that I have actually finished since the last time I recorded. One of the things is this beautiful shawl that I was just starting pretty much. This is the Cable Bliss by Stephen West in my La Bien Aimée 3-skein gradient set. It is gorgeous, it is soft, it is nice and lightweight, so it's good for like in the summer when the AC is just chilling me a little bit and I just want something over my shoulders. I haven't been going out at all, so it's not being used anywhere else. But it's so beautiful and soft, and it's the only La Bien Aimée yarn I had in my stash, and I'm so glad I used it, and I really loved it. So that's this, the Cable Bliss. Highly recommend. It's definitely memorizable, and honestly, you could put anything you want in this body part, any stitch pattern you want, and if you mess up on where you're putting your cables, it won't matter. It'll still look beautiful. So it's a great pattern if you just want to zone out and knit. I wanted to knit another big and very potato chippy shawl after that, and I wanted to use some of my favorite yarns, which if you know me, my favorite yarn has always been Sunna by Spirit Trail Fiberworks, who no longer dyes. Sunna is a merino cashmere silk blend, and it is soft. It's very plump. It's a fingering weight, but it's a very plump fingering weight. I would say it's a sport weight. I knit the Dotted Rays. What a fantastic pattern. I absolutely love it. I used 4 colors instead of 3, which it calls for. And I used, now I think, no, I used 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 colors. The 2 pinks and this black were I bought as a set, and then this color down here, which is, it's like a gray green. I don't know how, it's grays and greens. That was a skein I bought separately from Spirit Trail Fiberworks that I just thought fit because I wanted something really big. So here it is. It's thick, it's heavy, it's definitely built for warmth, and it's super soft, so it's built for luxury as well. And I put the black as a border, and I love this shawl. All of my favorite shawls, coincidentally, are Stephen West shawls. And I tend to say that I don't like his patterns because some of them are too out there. But the ones that I've knit have always been my favorite knitting. He writes a great pattern, easy to follow, different, and I guess I do like Stephen West. Not everything, but a lot of his patterns are just fantastic, like that Cable Bliss and this Dotted Rays. If you have yarn that you want to use and it's special like my Sana here, and it's something that you want to make sure you're going to wear a lot, or you have a fade set and you just don't know how you want to use it, a Dotted Ray shawl is perfect for this. You can make it as big as you want. You can just keep going until you run out of yarn, or if you're tired of this pattern, you can stop whenever you want. There's a large and a small size in the pattern, but you can just keep going, and it's just fantastic. It's a great pattern, and it's perfect for those projects that you just, for that stash that you just don't know what to do with. So that was really, really great. Okay. Let's go back to Kat Bordy. I can't show you those socks because they are upstairs in the sock drawer, but I did knit her her cowl pattern, which is free, and you will find a link on her website for it. It's a reverse cable pattern that's knit flat and then whip stitched together, and it's a cowl. And I actually used a stash that I had in my for sale for years and never could sell. It's a popular brand that is usually mobbed at Rhinebeck. What is the brand? Oh, I gotta look it up. This is the Rio Colina cowl by Kat Bordy. It's free. It's free. You can download it on Ravelry or on her website. And I knit it with the Briar Rose fibers. It's called a fiber, the name of it is Celebration. I got it at Rhinebeck in 2012, according to my Ravelry notes. And like I said, it's 600 yards of worsted weight, and I'm like, what am I going to do with that? So I had it for sale. They don't dye this fiber anymore, this blend. It's bamboo and, nope. Well, it's rayon from bamboo and merino blend. It was 600 yards. I said, you know what? I'm going to knit this cowl with it. It's perfect because it's the cable pattern is ad lib. You put the cables whenever you feel like doing a cable, you do it. Kind of like a river flows. But read her blog, please. Go to Kat Bordy's site and read her blog. This is an awesome. It's not only beautiful, it's practical. It's perfect for wearing under a coat because it doesn't go below the collar. It's not going to bunch up. It does hug the neck. It doesn't just fall down like a lot of cowls are designed with drapey yarns, and they just kind of fall down on your shoulders and don't keep your neck warm, which is what they're supposed to do. You can put it up a little if you need to, or you could put it down a little if you need to. It's really a great pattern. I love it, and I hope it gave her joy to see it on Instagram. But I highly recommend this. You should give it a try. It does involve cabling and a little bit of stitching, but it looks beautiful on both sides. I have to put my glasses back on because I can't see for crap. It's one side, and that's the other. So it's these two-sided cables, and it's just great. So highly recommend. The other thing that I have finished, is it right? Yeah. Is some friends back in New York are having a baby, and I knit them a wee Kriya. This is made with Yummy 2-ply. It was another deep stash. It's called Sea Glass, I think. I got it at a Rhinebeck, I'm pretty sure. And I made the 3 to 6 month version. It came out just about the right size. And I got these cute little antique buttons from, my father has thousands and thousands of buttons. He collects buttons. My stepfather collects everything you could think of, but he has a button collection. And last time I was home, he's like, take whatever you want. I took a lot of baby buttons, so yeah, this is a great sweater pattern. I mean, if I could brag about Isolde for a few minutes, thank you. Isolde is a great pattern writer. She is really a genius when it comes to construction of her sweaters, and a lot of these like top-down seamless construction things that people come up with, she's been doing it forever. She already did it. She's been doing top-down since the get-go, and she explains them beautifully, and the patterns, her patterns are written beautifully. I always love this, and I think it's kind of geared towards a girl, but this is fine for a boy, especially when they're a baby. So, we Kriya for my friends in New York. It's their first baby. I love wrapping presents like this too. That's so sweet. So that is it with the finished objects. I do have 2 things that are going to be on the needles really quickly, so I'm going to talk about them. One is this. I've just been really, especially since that Kat Bordy pattern, I've been really in the mood for very simple, I keep using the word spiritual, but I think you know what I mean. I just want some really kind of healing knitting time because I need it. I need it. My soul needs it. And when I think about knitting, I'm not thinking about like challenging myself with lace and all this super crazy stuff, but also, let's see, my printout didn't come too good. Let me get the online, but also just stuff that's warmth and love and just simple. It doesn't have to be potato chippy. That's not what I mean, but just practical and simple and really healing to knit. That's what I found this Rio Kalina cap by Kat Bordy was. So I am going to cast on another project from one of my favorite designers. And she's my favorite simply because she writes her patterns. Her name is Christina Campbell. She does these project piece patterns every year, and they really are peaceful, and they're just meant to be peaceful. But they're really beautiful too. So here's the cowl. It's worsted weight. It's got like a seed stitch, and it's got like a broken rib pattern on the bottom for the border. And it's just what I need. So I went in my stash to see what kind of worsted weight I had. It's designed for what is the Brooklyn tweed worsted? It's not, I always forget what it's called. The Brooklyn tweed worsted weight. It was made for, but I didn't have any of that. So I know loft is the fingering. I forget the worsted weight. I have some loft in my stash, but I didn't have any of the worsted. So I found this. This I bought. It's Spirit Trail Fiberworks Zalti. And it's 100% Targi. It's a little rustic, a little soft. It's very highly spun. It looks like an Aran. It's considered worsted Aran. I bought a 600 yard skein when she had her huge sale when she closed up her business. And I love the colors. So, and that's why I bought it. I knew it wasn't a sweater's worth for me. I had no idea what I would possibly knit with it. I just knew I loved the colors, and it just, seeing these colors really just, I like the way they made me feel. And then I said, well, I didn't have enough to knit the whole shawl in one color. You need about 700 yards in total if you were to knit it in one color, and I only had 600 of this, but I also had this Knit Picks Bear left over from a sweater I had knit, and I said it's a nice neutral and it would make a fine border. So it's a little thinner than this, but I think it'll be fine. And I'm just gonna knit me a beautiful, warm, cozy shawl with it. One that I know will give me a lot of joy simply because of the colors and the yarn. So that's going on. It's in my Rhinebeck bag by Little Skein in the Big Wool. And love this bag. She makes a great bag. Her and Fat Squirrel. I was watching the Fat Squirrel's video this morning, and that's what kind of, she does a lot of talking, unapologetically. She does a lot of talking on her videos and about life and stuff, and not everyone's into that, but it kind of told me, it's time to get out there again. So it was kind of like the catalyst for this video. All right, the last thing that's going on the needles, and kind of a mix of a deep dive stash, and also I did buy some yarn for this. It is a mystery knit along for Miss Babs. That's going to start, I think, September 1st. The first clue kit comes out. It's called the Garden Variety Mystery Cal. It's going to be the pattern is by Lisa Ross. Here is the, spoiler picture that people might be listing it under. But it's meant for a kit of Miss Babs Yummy 2-ply minis. And then you need 2 full skeins of another color. The thing was, it was meant for a 7 skein mini set, and I only had a 6 skein. Let me show you one of the sets that they put together so you can get an idea. It's supposed to be kind of a abstract rectangular shaped wrap, whatever that means. Here's another kit they put together. You can see it's 7 mini skeins. And the mini skeins have to be, oh, by the way, it's 25% off now until it starts, but the mini yarn requirements: 800 yards of a fingering weight, or 7 130 yard minis. So I had a set of Yummy minis that I bought at a Rhinebeck. It was the same year I bought this yarn, I think 2012. I might, let me see if I kept tracks, but it's a very old stash. And again, I had this for sale as well in my stash. I was looking to sell it. I thought I would never find a project to use it in. I have attempted some mini skein designs that were made specifically for mini skeins. And I found, the couple that I did, I ran out of the yarn. Oh, 2018, so it's not that old. Actually, January 3rd, 2018. I bet you I bought this in one of her end of the year sales. So anyway, it is a 6 skein mini set of Yummy Toes. The mini set was called Gemstones, and I love the colors. Deep, rich colors, and they are 130 yards each. Let me see. I'm going to show you them one by one. Yeah, 133 yards. So this is the purple. Here's the beautiful green. I love it. It's just enough of hunter green and emerald green. It's called topaz. The purple was called sugilite. This orange is called carnelian. I love the burnt orange look. Smoky quartz, a beautiful brown. Pyrope, it's like a burgundy. And Brazilianite. I think these are names of stones or crystals. I could be wrong. I know a few of them are. Which would make sense. It's called gemstones, right? So I had this other mini. I was thinking I could find for the 7th mini something for my scrap bank blanket. But I also had a mini set of spiritual fiberwork. So here is the color I decided to use, and I think it fits perfectly. Right? Doesn't it? And then, with the help of my virtual yarn circle, or knitting circle, my knitty friends from here in St. Louis, we meet virtually every weekend. They helped me choose this color off of Miss Bab's website. Sorry. It's a very pale blue with just a hint of green. It's called Coventry. And I think it'll be a beautiful offset to these deep, rich colors. So I'm really excited to cast this on. I'm probably going to spin it up today so that when the first clue comes out, I can start right away. I'm really super stoked. I always say I don't like to do mystery knit-alongs, but I love these these colors together so much that as long as the pattern isn't too out there, I'm excited just to use the yarn. All right, so that's it with knitting. I don't know when, or even if for that matter, I'll be doing another video again. So, you know, again, if I feel like it, I'll do it. If not, I won't. I can't keep up emotionally and time-wise. I couldn't keep up with a regular schedule, a regular vlog. But because of that, I'm just gonna really make this something that's more for me and this close circle of viewers that I have as I feel inclined. So I will say goodbye for now, and I will say I'll see you soon. And stay well, stay safe, take care of yourself, and if you're a person that's being hit hard by this coronavirus, I am praying for all of you that are without work and are struggling right now. My heart is with you, and I'm praying that things will change quickly so that we can all safely get back to our lives. Okay, so I'm back upstairs now finishing this up. I I did record something downstairs and it just ended up being too long and drawn out, which is typical for me. I cut a lot of blather out of this video that was just redundant or just too much information. So, but I did want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the world. Uh, Two very important things to me. I talked a little bit in the beginning about the Black Lives Matter and, of course, the COVID situation. Uh, I live in the United States. I realize that in other countries the situation might be very different, and I realize that. But this pandemic has wreaked havoc on many lives, and I'm talking mostly about not people like me, not even people who might be struggling, and I recognize the struggle because I'm a mom. I know what it's like. I can't even imagine how you parents that are working and trying to homeschool are going through. But we have jobs, we have income, and for that alone, we should be extremely grateful. There are so many people right now that have families and have lost their jobs, and they were getting compensated unemployment, but many of them were not eligible for unemployment. So this has been very difficult for them, and I just want to put it out there for people to really think about that when they are. I've listened to some podcasts, and I know it's not intentional, and I'm not naming names. It's not just knitting podcasts. I just hear it even in personal conversations I've had where people talk about how this has given them time to do things that are creative and explore what they really want to do with their lives. Maybe they've lost their job, but they're being compensated enough, or a spouse has work. I would kind of, I just think we should remember when we talk about these things, like I'm talking about all my knitting and how I'm stuck in the house. Well, I have a lot of space in my home, and there, and I also have a good income, and my husband's here. He's not working, and he's able to cook my meals. He does all the shopping. I don't have to worry about anything with the house because he can't work. He's doing all of that stuff. And there are people that really want to work and can't. And not only that, but they're not really everybody's stuck at home. And now things are opening up. But for a long time, people were stuck indoors, and people with less means were stuck in smaller places, many of them without any outdoor space, some without any part of the home to go to just be alone or get away from something, stresses, and the people that do have those things, those privileges, need to be sensitive to the fact when they talk about these things that there are people out there that don't, and it's extremely, extremely hard for them. And we need to be there for them. Okay, I wanted to put that out there because I think it's something like it's about this whole new way that we all have to think. We all have to think about the other people too, and realize that not everybody has the means and the privileges and the fortunate circumstances of life that we have. And I'm not going to talk about masks because I think it's only a problem in the United States where we have stupid people that don't want to do anything they're told to do simply because they're told to do it, and they don't care about other people's safety. They just care about their own inconvenience, and they believe lies. And so I'm not going to talk about masks, although actually I just did, but there you have it. I also want to talk about Black Lives Matter a little more, and I want to ask you, please, if you are not supportive of this Black Lives Matter movement and all this defund the police stuff, yet you feel that you are not a prejudiced person or a racist, you're the one I'm talking to right now. Please just give me a couple of minutes, because I felt the same way as you not long ago. And I remember when the term Black Lives Matter came out after the Ferguson riots, right here where I live now, not far away from where I live right now. I did not support the Black Lives Matter movement because I didn't believe that Black people had a handicap, and I didn't believe that only Black Lives Matter. I thought that that was racist in itself, because everybody's life matters. And that's how I thought. And I know people that are police officers, or I have friends that have police officers in their family, and I know a lot of them are really good people. However, even though I acknowledge there are police officers that are good and do serve to protect the law, they are also to be held responsible, because they're the ones that need to stand up to the ones that aren't. And I'll bring up a very clear example of it, of what I'm talking about, and a very extreme one too. But George Floyd's murder. There was the rookie cop was there, and he's asked repeatedly, shouldn't we get off his neck? Shouldn't we put him in the car? And he was told no. He was told to be quiet, so he shut up. And what needs to happen is that cops like him need to demand that other cops, bad cops, do what's right. So there's not enough of that. There's not enough accountability. There's passive enabling in the police force right now. And nobody's trying to fix what's wrong, because I don't know why, but that's what needs to happen. So yes, there are good cops, but they have an even bigger job to do than we do. They need to start holding their fellow officers in check and saying, no, it's not okay. I think we all have to change. We need all Americans to come together to change the way life is for Black people, very specifically Black people. And I know there are other people in our country that have things that are working against them, but I'm talking about Black people. And I just want you, I'm not going to preach, I'm not going to spew all these facts and things. I'm going to ask you to please keep an open mind. I know you're a good person, and I understand how you're thinking and how you're seeing this, but it is different. And my eyes have been open, because I am open to being wrong about things. And I'm asking you to do the same, because I know that you're a good person, and I know that you think all people should be treated equally. And I am here to assure you, and I am here to ask you to do the work, because Black people are treated differently. And I'm going to leave it at that. And I thank you for listening and hearing me out. So please just keep an open mind and listen to them. Listen to them. And by them, I mean Black people. Listen to their stories. Be respectful, and at least hear them out. And yeah, that's as far as I'm going to go. Maybe more at a different time. But I am so glad I listened, and I really do see things entirely differently now. And I am going to commit my life, the rest of my life, to doing what needs to be done to change the systemic racism that does exist in our country. It's a blasphemy. It's a terrible thing. It's a stain on our country. And the right thing to do is to own it and change it. Denying it and turning a blind eye to it is not the way. And that's it. I'm going to stop here because it's long enough. Thank you for listening. I love you all. I miss you all. And hopefully I'll be back soon.